Hi, this is Steve Hosher with RazorGage, and today I'm going to talk about how the various ways we can download cut lists to the RazorGage software. So there are basically two screens for downloading cut lists. One is free and the other one is an option that you pay for. The free one is the work order screen, and it's accessed by this button right here. So the work order screen can work in either absolute mode or incremental mode. What that means is you can use it as either a stop or as a pusher. So I'm going to click the button, and you can see here in the lower left corner I can switch between incremental mode and absolute mode. The screen changes just a little bit depending on which one that you choose, because pushing involves a few different controls than using it as a stop. But mainly what I'm going to talk about today is not the workings of the screen, but more the construction of the cut list. So as you can see, this screen has these headings: line number, length, quantity, and then user 1 through 7. So the cut list has to be configured that way. The first column has to be line number, the second one length, third one quantity, and the rest can be whatever you want. So I'm going to show you how to make one of those. Now you can do it in Notepad or WordPad or Google Sheets or Star Office, but I'm using Excel. So this is a blank Excel worksheet. Now remember I said that the first column has to be line number, then length, then quantity. So I'm going to go back to Excel and I'm going to put these headings in: line number, length, quantity, and then I'm going to add some user fields: material, width, and I'll say thickness. So line number 1, I'm going to drag this down. I'm going to make 10 lines. You could have 1,000 lines if you wanted, or more, 10,000. There really isn't a practical limit. I'm sure there is a limit of some kind, but it would be larger than you'd ever use as far as the number of rows you can have in the cut list. So and the number of cut lists you can create is basically unlimited too. It's limited only by the memory available, not only on the hard drive on the RazorGage, but on all the hard drives on your network, because you could access these cut lists from all over your network. So it's basically the number of cut lists you can access are, practical purposes, unlimited. So I'm going to put a length of 12.5 here, and I'm just going to drag that down so we have something different on each line. I'll make 3. I'll drag this down, let it increment. Material, I will say, is oak. Make them all oak. Width, I'll say 2.5. And thickness, I'll say, is 3/4. And I've noticed that when you put fractions in Excel, it wants to call it a date. So I'm going to change that to fraction. And then re-enter it. Okay, so there's my cut list. I'm going to save it as a CSV, or I'm going to save it as a CSV on the desktop, and I'll just call it book 1. Okay, now I'll go back here to the work order screen, click open work order, and there's my cut list. Now in work order screen you can't see the whole cut list at once. You have to navigate by clicking next line, previous line. When you get to a line that you want, you click move to position, and then the RazorGage will move to that position. If you're in incremental mode and have automatic features, then you can basically work through that cut list automatically and cycle the saw and do all kinds of more automated things. Just as an aside, you can see here when we're in incremental mode that it shows saw kerf and trim cut. So when you hit load to load a new part, you have to tell it the length of the part and the trim cut you want. And then it'll move out to the correct position. You load the part and it's going to trim a 1/2 inch. And the kerf right now in my software, I don't have kerf set, so it says kerf is 0. Of course, if you're pushing, you want to set that kerf to an accurate number. So that's how to create a, a cut list for the work order screen.